Hey everyone, on this episode of Kelly's Reality, we have a real treat for you. I get to welcome Leo Flowers. He is a multifaceted comedian, podcaster, and life coach, which have you ever heard of all three? I haven't. I'm excited to chat with him today. And what I love about him too is that he also has his master's degree in counseling. So we get a big peek into the mental health aspect of this. And speaking of mental health, as a therapist, I absolutely love bringing humor into my sessions with clients, even on the really heavy stuff. So I loved that you combine, obviously, your career as a comedian, but also your path as a life coach and with your background in counseling. So can you talk to me a little bit about why both of these and how do you blend them to help all of us in the world?
Great question. Thanks for having me on, Kelly. To me, it's all the same because at the end of the day, the through line or the theme is that I'm bringing value to people. I'm able to help people, whether it's through laughter as a stand-up comedian, whether it's through coaching as a life coach, or whether it's through my suicide prevention podcast. It's all to provide value to people, to help people, to teach people how to take care of themselves, or just teaching people how to enjoy life and look at how ridiculous it is, and to have some laughs on the way. So when I think about what I'm doing, I always think about it in those terms of like, does it provide value? Is it effective? Is it something that I enjoy doing? Is it something that's sustainable? So when it checks all those boxes, I'm in. It doesn't matter for me what the field is. If you know what the intention is, and that's what I live my life by.
Yeah. And it almost seems like such polar opposites. You have comedy on one end, therapy, life coaching on the other. How did you end up with both of these, and how do you balance them?
Well, I've grown up as feeling like an outsider. I'm from Chicago, and on the north side, and I was one of the few Black kids that went to a Catholic school, and I wasn't even Catholic. And then growing up on the north side, it was so diverse. I grew up between Loyola University and Northwestern University, so I thought everybody had a backpack. And so early on, education was ingrained in my brain, through the private school, through just what I was seeing with my own eyes, growing up between two universities. But on the other hand, also, my mom is an immigrant from Belize, and that side of the family is a very lively, very gregarious, fun family. Our Thanksgiving, this year, we said our prayer after the meal because we forgot. We were just eating and having so much fun. And so I grew up with these in these different worlds. And so to me, podcasting, stand up, life coaching, it's natural to me to be in these seemingly different worlds, because that's how I've always had to navigate through life, through these different pockets. And so I feel comfortable wherever. I've been to 5 continents. I was gonna knock out all 7 this year before the pandemic, but so I'm just I make home wherever I am, and so I'm very comfortable with all blending all 3.
Yeah. And you have quite an impressive resume. You've been on several TV shows showcasing your comedy, as well as, touring. What's been your biggest accomplishment to date?
Still being healthy. It's 2020. There's so much anxiety about, COVID-19, the political climate, the global climate. We're talking about global warming, and so to be able to get good sleep and to eat well, I'm drinking a hibiscus tea. I'm a huge tea drinker. I go hiking every day. I believe you have to be outdoors to get that vitamin D and stay healthy. So just if you're healthy, anybody who's listening, if you're healthy right now, if you're breathing, if you can you can touch your nose and your toes, then you have to pat yourself on the back, because it's no small feat to still be standing on both feet and to still be breathing and thriving. Absolutely. So yeah, to be healthy, it's just, we take that for granted, but when it's gone, you're quickly reminded.
Oh yeah. It's one of the many things that until it's failing or gone, we don't appreciate. You know, same, especially losing loved ones too. You don't realize how much, you know, gosh, I wish I could call my grandma. She would be so excited about the stuff that I've been doing, and you don't really appreciate that until it's gone. And I think you make a huge point. We have to appreciate our health every day, and not just when it's failing us. It's that gratitude practice that's so important.
Hey, you know, I have a aunt who just passed away recently, and it's fascinating how you don't realize the impact that people have until years or even decades later. I'm 44 now, and just maybe, I think about a year or two ago, I was driving and I realized the impact that my aunt had on my life. If my aunt wasn't there, my mom wouldn't have been able to afford sending us to Catholic school. The roof wouldn't have stayed over our head, the clothes on our back. She helped in so many ways that I didn't know, because I was young. I was a kid. And she didn't talk about it. She didn't brag about it. She never held it over my head. It was just one of those things in hindsight that I was like, oh, this is why my mom always wants me to call her on her birthday and say happy birthday, or call her on Mother's Day, or on these different holidays, that I was kind of like, why do I gotta call her? I don't want to.
Right.
And then I called and she didn't pick up, but I left this 5-minute voicemail of just gratitude and thanks, and just like, I mean, I was emotional. And then my mom called me, you know, a few hours later to say, you know, your aunt just called me crying because she listened to the voicemail message and she felt, you know, so thankful. And so people have an impact on us, but we also have this impact on other people that we don't realize how strong that is. So, you know, going back to being grateful for your health and your life, it's like, you know, this is a time to not only hope that you receive the gifts that you want, but this is also a huge opportunity for us to give the gifts of just saying, thank you for being there, and thank you for supporting me, and the things that you didn't do. There are things that you could have done, you could have left, you know. So there's so many things to be grateful for.
Yeah. And I love that. And think about, a lot of times people are nervous. Oh, I don't know if I should tell this person this, or I always say, write the letter, make the phone call, make the text. I mean, how nice is it to know that you made an impact in someone's life, and vice versa, you know, just saying, hey mom, thanks for always being there for me. I appreciate those late nights you put in, or whatever it is. I think we're often afraid to give compliments because we're wondering what the other person would think, but they're not given enough. And I think it's so important, and it really makes someone feel valued, appreciated, and it feels good.
It feels so good, Kelly, too. You know, they talk about like oxytocin, you know, those neurotransmitters that get released, the dopamine, the serotonin, the endorphins. When someone, you know, commits a generous act, it you know, we feel good when we see it and when we do it. And so, you know, whether it's a hello or a thank you, we know that, you know, talking to people who have attempted to end their life, a lot of them have often said that if someone had just said hello, or just said hi, or just a little eye contact, or, you know, a wave, that would have been enough for them to, you know, not have attempted. And so we all had this need to be seen, to be heard, to be understood. And I brought up my aunt, going back a little bit, because, you know, I said that was like a year or two later, and I didn't know she was struggling with cancer at that time. And then she passed away very quickly. She didn't tell us she was battling it until it was too late. So, you know, if there's someone that you need to speak to, you know, for the listeners, or you feel like you should reach out, write the letter, like Kelly said, and reach out and connect, because they might be going through something, and your connection could save their life or enrich it in some way.
Yeah. and don't be afraid. And also too, I think we tend to live lives where we think it's going to go forever, and it's not. And so we always think, oh, I'll tell them tomorrow, I'll call tomorrow. We don't know on either end if it's our time or their time. So like you said, don't wait, do it now.
I played college football and I have 6 bulging discs in my neck. And
I'm married to a neurosurgeon. I could get you some help with that.
Oh, really? Yeah. Listen, I woke up paralyzed twice from the fusion.
Oh,
and, every day initially I was like, why is this happening to me? I was upset. I was angry. There's a grief process because I lost some strength that goes with that. I can't do some of the things I used to do, but it opened up other doors for me in terms of like, now I'm learning how to swim because I can't lift the weights I used to lift. And now when I wake up, I get up. I used to like lay in bed and be like, I'm just going to hang out here for a couple of hours. And I'm like, no. Like the universe has told you that you're not promised getting out of bed every day. Yep. So when you wake up, you have to get up. And so it just gave me this renewed purpose, this renewed sense of meaning, and it gave it a lot more intention to my life. And so, for people who are struggling with some type of tragedy or trauma, allow yourself to feel the pain, but also know that there's a meaning, there's an intention, it's a seed that's planted for you to grow something new and go in a different direction.
Yes. Yeah, it's like the age-old, when one door closes, another opens. And it might not be, you might open that door and it's nowhere near where you thought you would be, but you're still meant to be there and you will still thrive no matter what fantasy you had. Sometimes we can't live in that fantasy. We have to live in the reality that we're given and pivoting.
Absolutely.
Now, I want to chat a little bit about your podcast, and even the name of it. Some people would just, it's such a stigma around the word suicide, and your podcast is called Before You Kill Yourself. So you are right to the point. Tell us a little bit about why start this podcast and who was it made for?
One, it was made for me. I've struggled with suicidal thoughts most of my life. When I was 9 years old, I told my mom when I turned 40, I was going to end my life. I'm now 44. And looking back, I realized at the age of 9, I had a strong sense of feeling like a burden to my mom, to my family, of not being enough and not feeling connected. My father was in and out of my life, and that was a relationship I very much wanted. And as I went through life, I realized I wasn't the only one struggling with these thoughts. And that it was a point where I realized that it was also something I should take a bit more seriously, because with the loss of Anthony Bourdain and so many other people who, I was looking up to, I was like, wow, I can't believe this person took their life. There was a running back, Rashaan Salam. He played for the Chicago Bears, and he won the Heisman Trophy in college, which is the highest trophy that you could get as a college athlete. He played for Chicago Bears, and then in his 40s, he ended his life, and that really shook me because he had the career that I wanted. Like I said, I played college football, and he played for the Chicago Bears. I'm from Chicago. He had all the things. And so when I read about his life, I met a friend of his, and I said, why did he end his life? And without hesitation, he said he didn't know how to take care of himself.
Wow.
And it floored me because I was in my late 30s, early. I think maybe I was 40 at the time. So we've had the podcast for about 2 years. And it made me realize, like, I don't know how to take care of myself. You think you do. And I thought I did because I was like, I'm a college athlete. Of course I know how to take care of myself. I live in LA. I do yoga. But I really didn't know how to sleep well. I didn't have a sleep hygiene. I wasn't journaling. My finances were were out of whack. My connections to people, my friends, my family, I had let most of those dwindle. I wasn't taking care of myself. And I really had to sit down and start with segment by segment, my physical, my emotional, my social, my spiritual, my mental, my financial, and how do I take care of each of these segments? And I was like, whoa, if I'm struggling with this, and I have a master's degree, and I went to a private school, how many other people are struggling with this? And I was like, I have to talk to more people. And so the title, as jarring as it may be for some people I'd say triggering, it came from, I was on a plane talking to a friend of mine. We were just doing a comedy show in Pakistan, actually. We're flying back from Pakistan. And I was like, I want to start the suicide prevention podcast. I think this is something that is important to me. And so many people are struggling with this and aren't talking about it. And I was like, I want to call it like Before You Kill Yourself. It was just a thought. And then this lady on the plane stood up and she said, be careful about what you're talking about. She's looking right at me. She said, my son, she said, I was in the bathroom and I had a gun to my head. And she's saying this on a plane. And she said, I was ready to pull the trigger. And then I heard my son crying in the other room. And I was like, oh God, I got to go feed the baby. And I was like, that's how small the window is.
Yeah.
It's that small. It's just a few seconds. It's just like I got to do the laundry. Oh, I got to send out 5 emails. I need to wash the car. I got to call my mom back. Yeah. Like, before you kill yourself, go feed the baby. Before you kill yourself, do a happy baby pose or go do the laundry or send out a few emails. It's like the window is so small. And that feeling, that wave, I call them sandstorms. When it hits you, it feels like it's going to last forever. But if you ever seen a sandstorm, they don't. Nothing lasts forever. It's passing through. And so I want the podcast to be that baby crying in the other room where you go, oh yeah, I didn't think about that, or I forgot about this.
Yep. Yeah, and like you said, in those fleeting moments, it's literally the difference between life and death in a millisecond. And so it sounds like your goal is to have people use that millisecond to focus on anything else, change that mindset, remember what there is to live for, and just take that second and do something different.
Yeah, because when we start to study our bodies, and unfortunately the schools teach us about capitals and history and carry the 2 and blah, blah, blah. But we don't learn about us. We don't learn about our brain and how it literally can play tricks on you. There's a part of your brain, the hippocampus, and it stores our emotional memories. And unfortunately, with people who struggle with depression, it'll store mostly the negative memories. That's why you could have an amazing day, but you only remember that one slight that someone made at 10 o'clock in the morning or on your way to work, or something your boss said or your spouse. But you forget that you got a raise. You forget that you have 3 kids, or all the things that you've accomplished. And that's where journaling for me comes into place, or just at the end of the day, taking note of and I think that, you posted a video, Kelly, about, reminding yourself of what are 3 things that you accomplished today? What went well for you? It's about asking ourselves, as Sarah Wilson would say, more beautiful questions. At the end of every day, Michelle and I, we ask each other, Michelle is my girlfriend, what made you laugh today? What went well for you today? What was your biggest struggle for today? And what are you looking forward to? And I find those 4 questions are so powerful because we can get so locked in our limbic system and our reptilian brain of the present and all the things that are going south now and how we feel right now, that we forget there is a future. And we forget there are things that we're looking forward to. I often on stage, I joke about, a moment where I wanted to end my life. And then I heard they had just released a new Batman trailer.
Mm.
Like, oh God, I can't kill myself until summer 2022, because I want to see this movie. It's such I was like, oh yeah, I forgot that they were making this movie, and I forgot how much I love this movie. And so it's such a small thing. We don't require superheroes or Batman or Wonder Woman to come save us. We just need to be reminded that there's a baby in the next room, or there's our favorite movies being released, or somebody did say hi to us. We do have purpose.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're so right. You had just mentioned, I forgot that something's coming out. And that's exactly what it is. Humans have this negativity bias. It's like you said, you can get 100 great comments on your photo, and then some troll says something negative, and that's all you can focus on. And it's the same thing. Like, we get stuck in that reptilian brain of negativity, being stuck in the present, that we forget, like you'd mentioned, that there is stuff that makes us laugh. There is beauty in the world. Our situation right now might not be where we want to be, but there is always hope. I always say, you could always sell all your stuff, run away, live on some island somewhere. There's always a way out of anything. And that's why I went into the field, is to help people figure a way out of, maybe it's not a suicidal ideation, but there's always a way out of a job you don't like, a relationship that's not working for you, suicidal thoughts. That's what I hope to impart on people, that there's always that hope. There's always a way out, and taking that millisecond before you do something that is permanent.
Absolutely. One of the things that empowers me are I read the obituary sections of newspapers. And it was something, I forgot who got me into it or what the story was behind it, but I started reading and I realized how empowering these stories are, because you're reading about people who've lived an entire life into their late 80s, 90s, some people living to 100, and they're living these full lives. And you realize that it's full because there was struggle. There were challenges. There were obstacles they had to overcome. It wasn't easy for them, but somehow they still got married and had kids. They survived the Holocaust and cancer and, throwing their back out, and divorces and business failings. And somehow they found a way to keep thriving, to keep moving, to keep putting one foot in front of the other. And I think why it's so beautiful and empowering, because when we look at social media, we're only getting a snapshot of a person's life. We're only getting where they are right now. And it's not even right now. We're getting the story, of where they were maybe a week ago or a few days ago. Right now, they in a story, they could be happy and smiling and, with their spouse. But at that moment that you're looking at that, they could be home crying and, downing, like, we don't know what they're doing. So, but when you read an obituary, you're getting the beginning, middle, end. You're seeing what a life should look like, or does look like, versus this snapshot, this window of someone's life that's been grossly exaggerated for the most part through the media. So you have to balance those two things out, and it really helps me put things in perspective.
Awesome. Well, I could talk to you for another 6 hours. I love your energy. I love everything about you. Final question for you though. What is the best life advice, mantra, quote that you've heard that you try to live by?
Be here now. We talked about getting through things and looking forward, but just allow yourself to be here. And there's a Zen quote that says, be where your feet are. For me, like last night, I was laying in bed and I was struggling with sleep, and I realized I was thinking about things outside the bed. I was like, my feet are in bed. Like get your mind in bed. Like your body's in bed. Get your mind in bed. Like feel the pillow.
Yes.
Feel the sheet on you. Feel the breeze. Feel your girlfriend laying next to you. You know, smell take it in. Like this is, you want better than this? There's worse than this. And so be here now. And even if it's pain, because one of the things, I struggle with chronic pain because of the spinal fusions. I have a torn meniscus in my right knee, but so when I'm struggling with pain, one of the things I'm constantly repeating to myself is, as long as I can breathe, I'm okay. Like I can if I can't breathe, then I'm dead. But as long as I can breathe, then that means that things are functioning at a basic level, and I'm all right. I'm okay. It just sucks right now, but I'm all right.
Yeah. And the key word is right now. And again, simultaneously being present, looking up from the phone, like you said, looking at my girlfriend, looking around, feeling the chair I'm sitting in. Most of the times we don't do that. We're floating through life, looking down at a screen, and we're not really in the moment. So I love that you said, be here now.
Yeah.
While keeping an eye on the future too. And I personally think that, as cheesy as it sounds, there is a reason that we are all here. It's statistically impossible that this just happened by chance and that you just happened by chance. I think there's a reason and a purpose that every single one of us are here. And part of the joy of life is figuring out what the heck that is. And one foot in front of the other, one day at a time to do that.
I love that. Yeah. One day at a time.
Yep. All right. So people want to get in touch with you, listen to the podcast, follow you. Where can they find more about you?
If you want one-on-one coaching, go to thrivewithleo.com, THRIBE withleo.com. My podcast, Before You Kill Yourself, is on all the podcast platforms, Spotify, iTunes, iHeart, Google Play, et cetera. And or you could just go to leoflowers.com, and then that links to everything.
Absolutely. Well, I cannot wait to get out to the West Coast when it's safe and come meet you in person and have a drink. But stay safe. And thank you so much for joining us today. And I'm excited to have my listeners hear more about you and follow along on your journey as well.
Thank you so much, Kelly.
Thank you.